These are the new Aperture MT Pro and MC Pro compact lights.
This is a CineD Gear News video, supported by B&H and CVP.
Hi everybody, CineD back at NAB 2022 here at Aperture with Ted. How are you?
Doing good.
Doing well. Okay, we got two new smaller products that we're also talking about today. One of them is called MC Pro. So you mentioned a little bit last night when you introduced this about how successful the original MC is.
Correct.
Yeah.
So for you guys that don't know, I'm not sure who doesn't know at this point, the MC has been everywhere, right? It's amazing how many sets I've walked by now that see little MC lights walking around. And again, for people that don't know, we're talking about the smallest pocketable, pocket-sized LED that has full RGB tunability. These are small enough, they have wireless charging built in, so they're magnetic. You can actually mount them via stands as well too. And of course, this light has been super popular and successful. But one of the questions that we've been thinking about over the past couple of years, and as we work with a lot of the higher end DPs, especially people that have been working on the bigger sets, is how do we make this light just a little bit better? And for those people today, we do have a new release. The new release is here today. We have the MC Pro. Now, what's cool about the MC Pro is that right quick off the bat, we have a couple of things here. We've actually increased the voltage, the actual brightness that comes out of this, 40 watts additional on top. Not 40 watts, 40% brighter than it actually was before. And then actually, because of the beam angle, we've actually narrowed the beam angle a little bit. And altogether, the luminance brightness readings that we can actually pull from this are approximately 3 times as bright as the original MC. So brightness right off the bat. Number two, we've actually expanded the color temperature range. So previously, we had a more narrow color band of color temperature for the MC. We've actually expanded that all the way to from 2,000 to 10,000 Kelvin in the new MC Pro. Likewise, it still has the same features that you love about the original MC, which is, again, magnetic backing. But on the front here, to modify this light, we now have a new way of modifying it, and that is on the front here, just like we had magnets on the back, we now have magnets right on the front. So if I want to diffuse this in any way that I want, I can diffuse this easy. If I want to be able to snap on something like a grid or something like that as well too, they snap on just like that. And then, as I said before too, over here we have a color wheel, and in the same size, approximately just a little bit bigger, we have actually full intensity. I'm going to tune that down because I know that these tend to overexpose on camera otherwise. But we have full RGB tunability as I go in here. So I'm going to turn my saturation up. Now I'm going to turn my hue and saturation around here. And all of these lights now can produce over 1 billion different colors. And they're, of course, CineD Link compatible as well, too. So for you guys, of course, that don't know what CineD Link is, wireless mesh technology. This light actually communicates with every other Aperture light on your film set, and it's going to communicate with every other MC light. So if you want to do things like pixel map chases between a lot of MCs, you can actually do that via this technology as well, too. So the MC Pro, we do not have a date for this yet. I don't have a price for this yet, but we're just showing it. We're actually not even on the show floor. We're on the show floor, but we're only showing it to press today because we showed this at our dinner. We just want to show you guys a couple of the announcements that are coming out in the future, and this is one of the ones that we're really excited
So this is
about.
still an early prototype?
This, it's fully working right now, and here it is.
But it's going to look like that when it's
going to look like this, yes. Everything that you liked before about the original MC too, the 12 light cases, the magnetic and wireless charging, these snap in there as well too. I think the real thing that we're just saying is keep an eye out for it. We're working on it, and we just want to show a little bit of the technology that we're excited about.
Very cool. But that's not the only small new light that you're introducing.
This is not the only small new light that we're showing today. So if I go on over here, you can see real quick, I have a new little product here that I think a lot of people have been asking for. And before I go into the details for that, I just want to say real quick, a couple weeks ago we released the Amaran tubes, right? And we released the tubes, our flexible panels, and of course we have our Amaran 100 series. And that's really for, again, a lot of the content creator community out there, for people that want to, basically be a part of the Aperture family, be able to get innovation that's specifically for content creators instead of the high-end sets, because you guys have different needs. We're making Amaran for you guys.
So Amaran is the lower end brand from Aperture, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think lower end brand, it's the more affordable brand is really my thing. Because to be honest, actually a lot of the features that we designed for Amaran, it's designed specifically for the way that content creators work. The way that content creators work, that's not the way that high-end filmmakers work. So for example, one of the easiest examples is for the Amaran tubes that came out, we designed these with content creators in mind. And that's the thing is that on a lot of high-end sets, right, you buy lights in 8-light kits, and when the battery dies inside the light, you're like, whatever, swap it out with another one. I already rented, 36 of these tubes. We're just going to swap them out regularly. Not a big deal. And when the battery's built inside and it actually starts corroding the LEDs because the battery's built inside, that heat produced, doesn't matter again, because if you're a high-end set, we're just swapping these out. It's the rental house's problem, right? So for the Amaran lights, we actually designed an interchangeable battery grip because for you guys, understandably, $100, $200, $300 per tube, you're not going to be buying 18 of those, right? And that's difficult. So we want to make sure that you don't have to replace the tube every single time. You just have to replace the battery in the same way you would anything else. My issue with that, though, is that I think a lot of people thought that was Aputure's release for the tubes, and that's okay, but that's an Amaran release, not an Aputure release. And for a lot of people, they've been asking, are there Aputure tubes coming? Are there Aputure tubes coming? And I am not talking about pricing and availability today. Again, just like the MC Pro, we just showed this at our dinner yesterday, and we're just showing it for close friends and press. But we want to show you guys a little bit of the technology that's coming out. So we know that tubes are great, but let's talk real quick about tubes and how they are not great. Because tubes have existed for a while, and if we're going to introduce a tube, we want to show people that we're not just going to do what's out there, but we have to actually take it one step further. So, number one, what are the problems with tubes? Number one, we have an exposure problem, right? Just as we literally had this conversation a couple minutes ago, when you actually have a tube, a practical in light, and you actually have it in the shot, if you dim it too bright, it overexposes, and all of a sudden all the color's gone. Yeah. But likewise, if you dim it too low, for pixels, you start seeing the individual pixels of the light, and it doesn't look good anymore. So on the pulse wave modulation, we need to make sure that it doesn't flicker at an extremely, extremely low rate and an extremely, extremely high brightness, because sometimes you might use this off camera as your actual light, right? These are beautiful soft lights. We need to make sure that it's also extremely bright. So here, right now, I've got the MT Pro. This is a 1 foot tube. And in this 1 foot tube, what I actually have here is I have not only the brightest tube that's on the market. We've already done comparisons via Astera, Quasar, all the tubes out there. This is brighter than them right off the bat. But number two, and in addition to that, we have a tube that can actually dim lower than any other tube, and when you dim lower to that brightness, you actually don't see any pixels whatsoever. We made that a fact. And part of how we were able to do that is we actually did pixel density. Normal tubes, a lot of longer tubes, even 2 foot, 4 foot tubes, we're talking about 16 pixels. Within this 1 foot tube, we have 36 pixels jammed into here, which means that density means you're never going to see the individual spaces in between the pixels. But that also means that you have ultra high resolution. Think about monitors and stuff, and I don't have to say it, you're seeing it. You're seeing actual pixel mapping happening on this as well too.
You might actually have to dim it in order for people to be able to see it.
Dim it for people to see it, that's okay, because we can do that, and you're not going to see the individual pixels here, because surprise, surprise, when I dim this down and I get real low, look at that. You see the pixels? Johnny, you see the pixels? Good. While we have this, you're not seeing the individual pixels, and we're still seeing the full pixel chasing. But if I want to actually have this be a light that actually lights us outside of the scene, there you go. You can actually see, we're in a very, very bright booth right now, but you can see a little bit of that color rainbow chase on us as well too. So, okay. Next thing though, pixel mapping. Why is something that looks so fun so difficult to program? These are CineD Link controllable. They have wireless DMX built into them. They're weatherproofed as well too, so you can leave them out in the snow and the rain, all that, no problem. They do have the battery built inside because that's the way that the high end works, and that's not a problem for you guys because you want it to be all slim, built in, one form factor. So that's all compatible as well.
And I think 2 hour battery life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just shy of 2 hours. We're talking about 100 minutes. On the edges here, we made these end caps thinner than any other company to make sure that when you put this on screen as a practical light, you're not going to see those fat caps that come off them. And you don't need wireless DMX dongles or anything like that. When you have those practical tubes with dongles and fat end caps, that's always a problem. All of that is actually built in with CineD Link. So if I want to control this via app, I can't show you guys the pixel mapping interface, but again, it's CineD Link, so it's about as easy as it can get. So many tube companies, apps out there. We know them, film tech companies, we're hardware companies. Software tends to not be a great spot for us. CineD Link is something that we put a lot of time into, making it really easy as far as the user interface. Anyone that's played with the app already knows that. The last thing that I want to talk about here is if we're introducing something again that's new for the high end, we need to really expand upon what's possible. So 36 pixels, we are the highest resolution tube on the market, but beyond that as well too, when I go to speed, sometimes.
Maybe you want to turn it down again so people can see.
Yeah, I'll turn it down again one more time.
Probably looks just white for you guys.
Yes,
it's not white. It's very
not
colorful.
White. Very
rainbow.
colorful. So I'm tuning it down again. Hopefully you guys can actually see the brightness here. And when I bring the brightness down, one of the things that we can do is for a lot of people out there that are doing pixel mapping, the effects that you're doing are actually, they look fine, but sometimes you need a really fast, like a lightning laser effect, or you need something falling really quickly. You want icicles and stuff like that. I don't know. Our job is not to do the creativity for you. Our job is to make anything accessible and possible for you. So if you want that speed, in addition to being the highest resolution tube on the market, yes indeed, we actually already have, if I build this in, the fastest refresh rate of any tube on the market as well too. So when I bring this down, you can actually see just how fast this is moving. We've actually doubled the refresh rate compared to any other tube on the market. So again, fastest effects, the highest resolution, as far as brightness and intensity goes, we solved all that. And we have the app, which is I don't have to talk too much about the app. If you've played with Stylus Link, you already know this is a big deal.
Very cool. So no pricing, no availability yet, but
Sorry,
it
can't
will
do
come
it
at
yet.
some point, right?
I think the point of this is just to show, there's a lot of people that have been asking about Aperture tubes and stuff like that, and the point is that absolutely we can do it. We can do it for a little bit, but our goal is if we're going to release something, we want to make sure it's the absolute best of the market, and we're in this position now where we're being asked to innovate on behalf of the market instead of just the lower end of the market. So
very cool. But what you do is you will have a lot of people asking for these products for a very long time, depending on how long you keep them waiting.
Which is why I would like to be very clear about this right now. We don't have a release date for it right now. Hang tight. When we do have that information, we'll release it as soon as possible. But please be kind to Nino. Be kind to the people online.
Be kind in our comments.
We had a choice to show it or not show it. We just wanted to show it for you guys so you guys
Cool.
actually see what's coming and have you guys as a part of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ted.
Thanks, Nino. Appreciate you.
Great new announcements at the show, and I'm excited to see when it's actually being released.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to CineD for more from NAB 2022, and please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you.